Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello, everybody.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. So this podcast almost didn't happen. It's so crappy. I was so looking forward to the long weekend, and then the morning starts, everything's fine, and then we go outside. 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh no, I'm feeling sick. And I was literally sick and then in bed sleeping most of the day. And I literally woke up like after General Hospital finished. I couldn't believe it. The whole day was just gone.
Oh, you're super dedicated to this non-paying job, and we all appreciate
I
it.
well, I haven't done this since like all of my morning sicknesses that would last all day. Because you remember, like I was pregnant, I think with like
Yes.
Logan or Lola when we were doing this. So there were so many times I had like morning sickness or colds and like did it anyway. So we're gonna do it anyway. Is what's happening.
Oh my gosh, I love that guy.
Oh, I know. Every time the kids are like, I don't want to do this, me and Johnny just start singing. They don't like it. They're like, you're gonna do it anyway. Okay. So like I have Willow, all right? So Willow
Oof, Willow.
is
Willow's
just
drinking all of the drinks.
yeah, like she's in her home and she's reeling.
Yeah.
She was reeling. I just don't know if she could hear herself because there's certain subtleties that I find hilarious when she's kind of mulling over her recent interaction. Like one of them was when she suddenly goes, wow, I can't believe this. Like Carly was really there for me. She like was there for me when I was sick. She walked me down the aisle and then she starts to go, and none of that was real, right?
Yes.
Then a little later, she's like, I cannot believe she accuses me of that my love for Michael was never real. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think she catches the little subtleties that, you loved Michael and that was real. And that when Carly was nice to you, that was real. But what I don't think
Mm-hmm.
is a real expectation is that when a family welcomes you in an exceptional way, because you really didn't have any, right? So she actually got
Yes.
like she got welcomed into three different families: Corinthos, Quartermain, Spencer. And Bobby and Carly went so far as to kind of include her in the Spencer side, kind of giving her her own side the day of the
Yes.
wedding. So when people do that to you, right? And then you cheat on said husband with his own relative, I just find it ridiculous that she's so stunned that everyone is reacting to her the way that she is. And she's acting like everybody's response to her is utterly unprompted. Like, I would love to see the shoe on the other foot. Well, it has been. She's just not aware of it. But imagine Michael cheats on her. And then when it comes out, the truth comes out publicly, he goes up to her and is like, how dare you know ahead of time? You made it on purpose that everybody would find out, and then gets mad at her for the secret being publicly outed that he cheated. Then goes and grabs the kids and tries to leave. Then
Mm-hmm.
refuses to have one conversation with her, is pretty much takes the kids out of the state to be with his lover without telling her, is really rolling around in the sack while something horrible happens to her, then uses the kids as leverage, and then also just moves in with said lover. And she's supposed to be zen about it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. She is living her own life, and that's the point. This
Yes.
is how I feel. I feel like, do you, right? That's how I feel. Like if this was really Willow, like even Nina, all those times she was pursuing vengeance, I was like,
Yes.
just do you, right? Like if you're in your vengeance era and you want to be Delulu, just go all in. And I feel like with Willow, yeah, for her, she fell in love and she wants to be with this person. Fine. But do it with eyes wide open. Like if you're going to do this, don't be surprised at the reaction.
Yes.
Don't be surprised acting like, why is there one? Like that's the point. It's why is there a reaction? And that's what gets me. But either way, she's kind of acting out the narrative that everybody else is telling us in different scenes, right? That she is hell bent on viewing herself as the victim. So much so that she feels like she understands Nell now.
Oh my word. That whole conversation, like, I don't know, like, really award to Nina because the fact that she's keeping her head on straight and able to listen to everything that Willow says. And Willow's like, "Why aren't you mad?" And she's like thinking, "Well, Carly's kind of right. You're all kind of losing your mind. I did for a while,
Yeah.
but now I'm back." Like,
I mean, Nina's character pre-obsession with Carly and all that stuff, her and Carly got along. She was a great character, right? Like
yes,
think about the Nina with minimal interaction with Nell right before the custody hearing.
yes,
Okay? So it's like Nina did see things clearly. She did see Nell for exactly who she was. And then with
yeah,
her grief and you know what, now looking back, I think it was more than her grief for Nell. Like all that time when we watched her be really delusional about who Nell was as a person. Now looking back, I could see her reaction absolutely being about the daughter she never had, right? Because
yes,
it was also about mourning the life she never got, right? We have to remember that Nina had
exactly.
a trauma, and to be honest, I wasn't really thinking so much about her trauma because she was acting so crazy, it was getting harder and harder to feel compassion for her. And when you think about it, it's like her mom did this horrid thing to her,
Hmm.
and she lost 20 years of her life. So while I feel she grieved her daughter, I think she was grieving, it was so layered, right? The life she never had,
Yes,
all the years she didn't get with this daughter, and what her, not just what Nell could have been, but what her entire life could have been. Nina's whole deal and biggest wound is looking for a family.
yes, absolutely.
So I was really feeling for Nina. I mean, we've watched in little bits ways where, since this whole thing started with Drew, how Willow keeps giving props to Drew and really not acknowledging how Nina supported her.
Like, yes, it's horrible.
It's at her convenience, right? Like every here
Hmm.
and there, after someone attacks her, or and Nina's right there. It's like, why is this happening? Like she tends to do that thing. Like when there's no one else to whine and complain to, that's when she
Yes.
goes to Nina and that's when she starts calling her mom and that's when she's like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't get through this without you." But as soon as Drew is in the picture, like Nina doesn't matter to her.
No.
And so now another reason I feel bad for Nina in all of this is just like while Willow is feeling really attacked by being compared to Nell, and I get that, right? But at the same time, I'm like, even when Carly compared her to Nell and it was all happening in front of Nina, I was like, okay, guys, old wounds. Like, I don't think anyone, like, no one's considering this from Nina's perspective, right? Like, like, this whole tornado for Nina's character
Hmm.
began when she learned that Nell was her daughter. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm understanding because this is the second time she had a, she had a contentious relationship with a daughter when she didn't know it was her daughter. Oh, I never put that together. That she heard like she gave Nell a chance, but I mean it was, it wasn't the smoothest.
No.
Oh wow. Okay. So that's the thing. So even when Carly's saying that for so long, Nina defended this idea of who Nell could be. And then she kind of put Nell down and then put her attention on Willow. But I can't imagine it's easy for her to hear any of this when it comes to Nell because it's such a sticky and tricky topic. It's literally the wound that caused all of this.
Honestly, it's so, like you said, so interesting, so multi-layered. And then when you talked about how, Nina's looking for a sense of family and her daughters, and that's why, she may have chose the wrong path to get to certain places, but she definitely
Yeah.
has her head on straight. But so did Nell. Nell was looking for family, was looking for a circle. Yes, she was seeking revenge, but she was looking to build roots. And Willow, again, is so desperately trying to build roots. And that post
Yes.
that you made with, that comparison of like nurture versus nature. It's like,
Yes.
will Willow be the one to eventually get it right after this hard path? Because she said, I didn't have a good upbringing either when she's thinking about her comparison to Nell. Okay, so now that you're aware, half aware of all this or quarter aware, What are the steps you're going to take after you hit rock bottom?
I don't know if it's a first of all, interesting is that I actually found that old clip last weekend. So when I was editing last Saturday, I had
Hmm.
the clip. I just had it.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, that's
nice.
interesting. I'll post it as a flashback." But then when the episode happened, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is hilarious considering the clip I had already saved." And then I ended up putting them together. But it's interesting when you say, "Will Willow get this right?" That's the thing though. I don't think it has anything to do with like right or wrong, nature versus nurture, good or bad. I think it's about recognizing that nobody is just one thing and you could be many things. And that is something that Willow can't fathom, right? She is one
Very
thing, and the
true.
one thing she is a victim, the good one, the nice one. And when she
Mm.
even described, like, I don't know, like, is Carly right? Are they right? Because everyone keeps yelling at me. Like nothing's getting through. Like the fact that people are yelling at her and she's registering that, you see that she cannot make sense of this turn of events to the point where she's going to this other extreme. And my Nell, I could understand, for instance, why she felt, the world is unfair, or the fact that everybody was like against her. And I mean, look,
Hmm.
there's a lot of nuance there, but it is different, like Nell experienced an uglier side of the world.
Yes,
And for
absolutely.
Nell, it's not wrong in her perspective to be like, other people have gotten a leg up in the way that she hadn't.
Hmm.
Okay. And yes, Willow also had it rough. But sometimes there are individual differences, right? In how
Hmm.
who you are and how the world receives you. And Willow just came in this sunshine package. I mean, her name was Willow, right? And due to her package and how she presented herself, it garnered a lot of people to help her. Nell wanted the same thing, but nothing about how she acted. I mean, she tricked people, right?
Yes,
She was-
exactly.
she tricked people into helping her, but she wasn't authentic because she had so much anger. With Willow, she just is too naive. Like she won't
Yes.
even make space for all aspects of herself, that she could be a person that is just as cruel and ruthless as she accuses everyone else to be. I'm not saying she's cruel by nature. These are actions. It's not who
Yes.
you are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I don't
Hmm.
think, everybody on that show, that's why it's funny when you're watching, especially that argument with Carly and Will last week. It's because as the audience, you can love Carly, but you could know that, like, yep, funny you being on this side of things, after all these years,
Right.
because everyone has done something. You know what I mean? This concept of throwing stones really just is a matter of time, right? There's a time where
Yes.
you'll get to throw stones. You'll be on the, like, I guess you could say, quote unquote, the right side of things. And it makes me laugh because when I think about it from a generational perspective, I look forward to the day that Willow as a mother is in that situation that Carly was in. So I think for me, and when we talk about like Willow would get it right, I mean, for the time being, it looks like Nina has. Because I think it's not about, like, going back to like what I was saying, I think it's more about facing reality. And Nell couldn't come to terms with certain realities. And there is a clip I'd posted a long time ago about Nina confronting Nell on certain realities of the situation. Like for Nell, it was Carly was at the root of everything, and then
Yes.
Nina confronts her being like, that's not what happened. I saw her open up her heart to you. And she kind of called her on her stuff. And with Nina, we actually got that. She had this conversation with Carly where she was actually able to own up to things that she never owned up to, like with anyone. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I was surprised to have that moment between the two of them. I do think Nina has faced herself. I do think she has come a long way. So I think Nina accomplished that thing. And I think it's about Willow. I think it's way more dramatic than, let's say, Chase's path. When we talk about somebody being on, they're just so good and they're just like, they need
Yes.
to be grayed up a little bit. They're too much of a normie in a sense. And I feel like Chase's journey was like a little light, right? Like he got knocked
Yes.
with a little bit of stuff, meeting Brooklyn was a little bit of gray for this guy. His father
Hmm.
passing was a little bit of gray for him. This current storyline with Brooklyn and Dante is a bit of gray, but it's also a lot of love and devotion. It's just that Willow's
Exactly.
is extreme of pulling her from the light and giving her that gray. It's just like her situation is more extreme, but it makes sense given that we associate her with Nell and Nina and she's from that family.
Yes, that's very true.
So she's got to get in there. You know what I mean? You want to get down and dirty with all the other characters. Like she's got to have a little bit of that gray. But I mean, she's in a really tough spot. And when I think about her, I'm like, you are going to fall hard because Sasha used those words last week. And while you and I have been talking about like, yeah, like Willow's in a, cult setting, she's in her cult vibes.
Yes.
I forgot that
Her
we
Coltera.
actually, like, I forgot that we had actually used the term Dawn of Drew. Like I posted it over the weekend, but I was like, yeah, like when they said it, I'm like, when Johnny had asked me, has anyone ever brought that up? Like, of course, everyone's brought it up that, like Willow's in this cult state, but I forgot that we specifically brought it up in a January post where we straight up said that Willow went from Dawn of Drew, a Dawn of Day to Dawn of Drew. And that's what
That
they
was
had quoted.
your genius, all of it.
But I didn't even recognize it on the TV when they used the term officially Dawn of Drew. So could you imagine the deprogramming? And can you even bring yourself to remember that like Willow participated in the deprogramming of Christina?
It's wild. Like even later, is it later in the week when he presented those papers? Like when he said he had an idea, what did you think he was going to do? Like he's just like pulling her deeper into this cult setting of being tied to him forever.
Yeah.
What did you think those papers were?
Um Custody. Like definitely
Me too.
custody
I thought
related.
adoption, like I thought like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
something really like
But you
tie them
can't do
together
that.
forever.
Like,
Right?
none of it. So, like, I just felt horrible in the way that he walked in and dismisses Nina, and he's
Yeah.
so disrespectful to her, and it's over Willow's head.
Hmm.
That talk with Drew, not with Drew, but with Chase months ago was utterly useless. This whole be independent thing,
Oh
she's not
yeah,
she's
she's not
not getting it.
capable.
She's not getting it. So
Hmm.
not only did I feel horrible, but it's the isolation, right? He's
Oh yeah.
completely isolating her. And then when the papers were there, it's like we know, right? She just felt attacked. When Carly left,
Hmm.
the reality was like, oh my gosh, could she come after my kids? But then it was like, if you're incapacitated, I was like, so Willow's going to be incapacitated because, like, I mean,
Well,
who's
this is what exactly that. Exactly.
like, why else is this brought up in a soap opera? In the event that you're incapacitated, I could fight for you. In the same way, we are making fun of a burn victim for his mom fighting for him. Let's
Okay,
do
so
that. Like,
do you
let's
remember
do
the
that.
movie from back in the day, Misery?
No, like
Okay,
the known one, like the one that's like a huge movie. Oh no, that's Les
yeah.
Miserables. Sorry.
Oh. No, it was a movie, if I'm not mistaken. It was Kathy Bates,
Okay.
and she was obsessed with this writer, and she basically kidnapped him and broke his legs to keep him in her possession. I'm like, is Drew going the misery route?
But that's
Keeping her kidnapped in like a, remember back in the day with like Rick and then the basement vault and like all these really crazy things.
like what you're saying is really extreme, but it is what's happening. He's just doing it mentally, like
Right?
psychologically, imprisoning her, and that's exactly what's happening. And I mean, like it's troubling to watch because like there's
Yes.
one thing for it to come out in Willow because it's like it sucks for her. She's going to be kind of dealing with this thing all over again. Like she started to
Hmm.
connect the dots of like jumping from one guy to one guy and relying on other people, and she wants to stand on her own. And she had that conversation with Chase. So I mean, yeah, like on her end, but then it's like even Drew, like who are you? Like having one look in the mirror, like I mean all of this is truly driven by his hatred of the Quartermains and has little to do
Yes.
with Willow is like this trophy, this dismantling of the Quartermains and their golden boy because he could never be that, the golden kids of the Quartermains, as historically Michael and Jason. So I mean, look, this is what's happening. He gave her the papers and she was all gung-ho about it. Again, so funny on the heels of all of the insults they hurled at Michael, who doesn't even know
Right?
this conversation is happening, and all the poking fun at Carly and like, oh, you're fighting for your son, like he should get better and fight for himself. Again, none of that applies to Willow. So I mean, if
Tell
she
your
thinks,
skin to heal faster, okay?
oh my gosh, like if Willow was incapacitated in a coma, would we be going over there and yelling at her, being like, "Get out of that coma and fight for your kids. And as
You're so
long as you want to
lazy.
be in that coma, you can have them." I'm just like, at the end of the day, like all she did was play into, Diane's hands, right? Like this is consistent with things, the decisions she's making. It's not like Michael's inaccessible, right? He's calling
Yes.
people, wishing them happy birthday. And
Yeah.
what's gross is like she forgets the debate she's had. She's like, "Am I now? Am I trying to steal Michael's children? That can't be." Drew, remember how we didn't bother asking Michael because I didn't want to give him a chance to say no to take his kids and move them in with my lover and start a new family? Do you remember that? I'm just like, "What?" And then and just the idea that she didn't even consider her mother. And I think, like, when you talk about
Yeah.
searching for family, I think, like, right now her relationship with Willow is tainted, but I mean, those grandkids are Nina's family, and that's what I think is
Exactly.
so interesting for this to happen because, like, well, for one, Brennan comforted Carly, and while I don't care for him, he said things
Same.
that I was like, "Say more." And it turns out
Yes.
Carly had a plan without knowing she had a plan, and when he was laying it all out, yes, their actions worked in her favor, and the thing is, it looks bad on Willow's part, and this is exactly what Nina's been saying. She tried to take the kids, and then when Michael was there, he never even stopped her. He showed good faith, putting the kids first, even if it meant taking them away from him. He didn't try to get into a battle. He just trusted that
Yes.
Willow is in there and that they would talk and work it out. Who knew that they would never even have one conversation after that?
Not
She
one.
Because for her all that matters is somebody telling her that she's right and amazing. And that's what Drew is able to do. And that's what Nina was able to do. And any conversation with Michael or anyone else, she's not hearing what she wants to hear about herself. It's not the reflection she's used to, and she doesn't want to confront that. She's fine with saying our marriage didn't work out, but she's not really willing to look
Hmm.
at her role and why that didn't really work out. And it's not just like a Michael thing. And so I just think that, taking the kids and then taking Wiley across state lines and then moving the kids in when she could have spoken to the father. And the fact that, like, Drew is like, "I drew up papers that you're incapacitated, like I could handle this." But it's like the children have a father who has custody. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like logically, like what they were doing was infuriating, but logically you had to laugh because it's like you can't in the middle of a custody battle say, "Okay, this is how I'm going to win custody. I'm going to take my kids that I'm currently in a custody battle for and sign them off to someone else." Like,
It's bananas,
it's
honestly.
especially given the fact that, like, Tracy was able to get custody. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like through Diane, but still. So, anyways, I'm just saying that if Tracy was able to do what she did, imagine all of them pulled together.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be epic. Like when all this goes down and Drew and Willow are rock bottom, and then she's gonna realize she doesn't want to be anywhere near him. What? I cannot wait.
But I think that they're gonna be left alone for a while. That's the thing. Like, there's a bit of like a low key part of this story that's going under the radar for now because Alexis has got her own mess. But the point is,
Yes.
Alexis introduced this idea of custody for Scout soon after Sam died.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
after which she took a step back and kind of like made space for Drew's shenanigans and kind of tried to keep the peace there. He told her about moving with Willow. She wasn't fine with it, but she didn't really let on. And she also had that private conversation with Tracy about the fact that, like, when it comes to Drew, like, this affects Scout.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So, I think that that's gonna come into play. I do. I think there's gonna be. I think he will also have a custody
Oh,
battle on his
yes.
hands that he won't see coming because he's gonna be too busy playing puppet master, saying the creepiest line that I've ever heard. And if next week cuts back to that scene and Ezra smiles and nods, I will be extra creeped out that you're more than comfortable with this guy who had you basically humiliate yourself on live, like when he went
Hmm.
to the Quartermain crypt, literally is telling you, "Do as I say and you'll become mayor." And then when you become mayor, you'll still do as I say. Ew.
Yeah, it was so weird. You'll be my puppet. Like he's not even blackmailing him. Like, what are the promises here? Like they're missing a part.
So I don't know. Like for me, I'm like, I don't know how anybody is so comfortable with that, like that level of like you're nothing to me and I'm straight up gonna use you. I don't
Right?
know. So that whole plan unraveled, but not how Laura thought it would.
Mhm.
What did you think of that whole thing?
Well, I understand Jordan's perspective in terms of like it had to be a surprise, but I did genuinely feel bad for Laura with all the questions of that Boyle guy. Like he's smarmy. Like I don't know if that's a word, but he's like real slimy.
Oh
And
yeah, he's so aggravating.
it's hard to hear him talk, but then when you think about it, it's like, yeah, it's kind of a weird situation, but she's doing the best that she can. And Drew's face was so creepy the
Oh yeah.
entire time. Like I couldn't handle it. Like it was a lot. And there's so much to unfold. Like all the conversations with Sonny this week. Like there's a lot that's gonna go down in a short period of time.
That's what I'm curious about, okay? Because there's a lot of pieces to this. So did
Hmm.
when we saw everything air, there was a part of me, 'cause you know how much I love Jordan and I also, love Laura and I love them together. And I really wanted to make sure that their relationship didn't take any hits. And even with the way it went down, I still don't think it will have taken any long-term hits. But
Hmm.
I guess for me, realizing that Jordan was all in, as is Laura, meaning that Jordan kept up the front and with Anna. So I was like,
Yes.
okay, I'm like, this is like, okay, so Jordan is like having this conversation with Anna. That was so funny when Anna kind of put two and two together. Oh, so a city official shouldn't have ties with the criminal. Was so funny watching her, like watching that dawn on her.
Hmm.
So for me, I guess when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is really bad. But what I'm looking forward to and what's getting me through this is that these women are going to see each other and then like high five, plan in motion. But then when that didn't
Yes.
happen, it made me really sad because Laura looked utterly defeated.
She did. It broke my heart, honestly, when she just slouched in her chair. When did she slouch?
I know. And then it's like we know that that this is a good thing, right? Jordan is positioned so well when it comes to gens. And you know how impressed I am by her, but like so was
Yes.
Johnny this week when he saw her negotiating tactics with gens, he was so
Yes.
impressed. Like when Jens calls her and he's like, we have a lot to talk about. And she was like, about what? He loved it. He absolutely loves watching Jordan in action with Jens and how she's like manipulating the entire situation. So it's like there
Yes.
is a greater good, and that is the whole point, and that is going successfully. And we knew, and Laura knew. It's just hard to live it when she said, yeah, it might even cost her reelection, but she went ahead with this. Look, like I said, there's good parts to this, but I can't help but go, this was all Curtis's idea.
Why?
It was Curtis's idea to put it up for a vote. It just didn't.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
It kind of just went out of control. I think it was a good idea, and I think it's ridiculous that Ezra was turning it the way that he did. And I'm like, and the thing is, I think I was frustrated because I know that the way he was spinning it was working. When what he's actually saying is, why should the people have a say? Like, why should they have a say at all?
Exactly.
And he
We
was
have the
ripping
power.
like he was ripping away their voices, and I wasn't sure if that would really get through. But I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't look very good for Laura. And then Drew chiming in at the end when she was having a private conversation with Curtis, I was like, go away.
He's so creepy. What did he say to him? Like, he just said like the creepiest line also to Curtis. It was beyond weird that like and the way he was trying to compliment them, but it's all backhanded and
Oh
greasy
yeah,
and weird. He's doing it really well though because you posted a clip and then I looked when he was at on Kelly and
Mark.
Mark. And he's like, he's so like joyful and he's got a really
Oh
positive vibe on
yeah.
his Instagram page. So like when you really dislike a character, how good of a job they're doing because I have to really take some time sometimes to be like, okay, take a breath. It's not really the guy. Cameron. That's his name, right?
Yeah. No, he's really like
He's
a
doing
great
great.
he's really a great guy. And so, yeah, I mean, at least he understands soaps, right? To take this in stride and
Yes.
to make links to the last time that he was this hated, like on All My Children. But, to be honest, this is a little bit of what I asked for. I complained that he was too sunshine and rainbows when he came back.
Yes.
I'm like, how does somebody with this much trauma, this much crap happened to him, be this damn happy all the time. While I didn't think it would go to this end, I mean, look, I don't hate it. Like I
I
don't
don't
hate
either.
like what's going on right now. I like the storylines as they are, and it creates this huge fight. It created an opportunity for like Curtis. He's really stepping up there. He's always had this relationship with Laura, but now he has this extra solid relationship with Laura in the business world. He has this affiliation with the Quartermains. Like I love what it's done for so many things. And so I just thought it was strange given Drew's stance, the language he used when he was in a private meeting, saying something like Laura not coming out and kneecapping Sonny's operation. And I'm like, interesting
Yeah.
choice of words given what you supposedly stand against.
Right? Okay, so we're talking about Curtis. What do you
Yeah.
think of the very,
His scene with
what do you
Jordan.
call it? Platonic friendship.
Oh my gosh. I was like, does this man remember he has a wife and it's not her? Like, you know
Not
what
at
I
all.
mean? Like they're having this conversation. I'm like, why on earth would you be entitled to the truth? And also, it's like Jordan had made that remark to Isaiah when he was kind of like they were having a conversation and she just assumed it was the end. And he was like, who hurt you? And she's like, you have no idea. And I just think, and I just think that like Curtis is so extreme for her to like panic in that the way she responded to him. And what I didn't like though, like I mean, of course in the end he offered her any support, right? And discretion if she were to let him in. But what I really resented was that all the lies that Jordan kept were related to her job. And it was the nature of her
Yes,
job. And that was what was infuriating. And he had different standards for her. It was like he was so intrusive when it came to her work. And we know that Curtis has not really been forthcoming. Like he's had no problem lying to Portia about his ties to Miss Wu, you know?
exactly.
So I'm just saying like and plus he had like kissed Jordan, like he's broken trust on his end
Hmm.
and he never had a conversation, right? He kind of pulled the Willow thing. He just sort of for the millionth time switched careers, went on a new journey and was like, forget you, Jordan, because he was so mad. And the idea of actually working through something was clearly beyond him. So I really didn't like her putting all this guilt, being like, I lost my family because of my lies. And I'm like, you literally never lied about anything personal. And then at the end, when she said, my lies cost me, and he just goes, it costs both of us, as if he was saying something like helpful.
I know.
But to, oh, I get it now. Because to say it costs both of us, meaning
He's still pining.
okay, I didn't yes. I see now. I see. Okay, yeah, so that's gonna get like super messy. And today she ended things. So now like Isaiah is a super free agent.
Yes.
And there is something that's funny, the use of word of agent given his scene with Joss today, but there is something that I don't even think we brought up on the podcast, but it happened so long ago and it hasn't been touched on since on the show. But remember
Okay.
when Brick caught Jordan and Isaiah, and he implied that he knew about Isaiah's family.
Yes. Do you think he has some like ties to spies or mob?
I don't know. I mean, if it was spies, I don't think that it would have been so easily accessible to Brick. Like, how much
True.
effort is he going to put into Jordan's Beau's background check? So I
You
have
never
to
know.
assume. Well, I know. I don't know. I guess I went with criminal. Like, I mean, for a guy being a doctor, he knew how to. I mean, he was kidnapped. He went to dangerous parts of the world. He seemed to have handled himself enough in
Did
dangerous
you think
situations.
absolutely? And he was tied in with Lucky, who, yes, I'm sure did a handful of charity work, but also did some side gigs in a darker space. We
Yes,
don't necessarily really know in what part of Lucky's adventures that they met, and if Isaiah is tied to being doctors for darker situations.
exactly, exactly. So, and
Hmm.
then there was speculation that Joss, would have been kind of looking into Isaiah, but it's not the case, right? It turns out to be the professor. And he's from,
Yes.
I think, Young and the Restless. He's from another soap.
Yes, he is. I was reading up on him a little bit, but yeah.
So, so they put, that's the thing. Oh, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. Do you realize? because I'm thinking, okay, but okay, okay, fine, not Isaiah. Joss has this whole other mission, right? But then I'm like, but
Yes.
they threw Joss and Isaiah in a scene together, and then I just
Mhm.
realized Isaiah is very discreet and also treated Sonny in private.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
See that like little, a little foreshadowing, a little.
Mhm.
Spies don't really need secret doctors, do they? People hiding things do, but I mean, I don't know if spies need secret doctors.
Unless they're not close to the headquarters and can get to their WSB doctor.
Uh-huh. I mean, look, I don't think Joss, I mean, that's my guess, right? This all happened so fast. There is mistrust, not Carly to Brennan, but in terms of like what they're portraying, there's somewhat of a mistrust about Brennan, his motives. And I just don't know how long this satellite office will reside in Port Charles, or how much this will, like, how long she's basically going to be a spy. Like, to my understanding, like, yes, you had spy work, but it was supposed to be secret. I mean, technically, Joss is
Yes.
keeping it a secret for now. I just don't see how long that can go on for, because there's, I think, a few avenues to getting closer to the truth. I think Isaiah is one of them. I think
Mhm.
that they announced today, like when Anna brought up the whole why that day is after her, because she thinks she covered up any evidence about Jason
Mhm.
being involved in Cyrus's murder, which would give them a reason. Maybe we should go back to pursuing this case to clear Anna, to clear Jason. And that's also another avenue to finding out what Joss is doing.
Oh, very true. Okay.
So there's a couple things going on there that are interesting. So we're talking about Isaiah and Sonny. So in terms of this like whole political thing, like we're talking about the future of Port Charles. And I think it would be weird to just not have the mob be a part of it.
I know all this big talk of like, what choices does he have now? Does he change his avenue or his business stream? It's like, to what?
Like, and just the way that people were talking about it kind of surprised me. Like when Felicia went to go talk about it with Carly, being like, make sure he doesn't fight back, when we saw that he already established that with Diane. And I was like, yeah, he should fight back. Because even I was saying he should launch his campaign, frame this as an attack on private or small businesses, like, kind of reach out to all the other business owners. What if they seize some of your land? Like, he can't be the only private owner. Yes, there's crime on those two piers, but you have to assume that there's other piers.
So I kind of am hoping that in his battle to, Diane recommended all of his donations that were anonymous, maybe talk about his community work. Like, what if Sonny becomes mayor?
That is exactly what Johnny said.
I love it. I
So
love it.
that's the thing. So my initial thought was, I didn't think the mayor thing. He only said that like today actually, and I was like, he referenced some names, and I'm like, when did that happen? He's like, no, it's from a show, Michelle, Daredevil. I'm like, okay. uh, he's like, this isn't real. I'm like, okay. So he walked me through like a storyline of a show where this like criminal, sorry, spoiler alert for anybody who watches Daredevil. I have no idea if this is early, old, new news or anything, but he was just
Same.
saying how this criminal becomes mayor. Like, so basically he's out of commission, he's sick, wife runs the mob, comes out of whatever illness he has, and just is like, stop doing this. Again, there's some violence there, but he kind of goes hard against crime,
Okay.
straight up trying to wipe out crime, like not through, I would say, the best channels. I think he may have like disappeared them
Gotcha.
as part in order to get that goal. So he threw that out there. And it's true, when Diane said that, I'm like, well, that's getting a little too real. This is interesting coming out from the shadows. So this is kind of crazy, because it's like we knew that Sonny and Jason had that conversation about like, we can't do this forever. Like, you got to get out. And there
Yes.
was no obvious person to take over that business. And I think in terms of watching the show, I think many of us for years just assumed, again, family business, one of the kids would take this on, right? Generational show. We all assume that. And I would feel a bit weird, if you like, I love Jen Sidwell, but I like Jen Sidwell as an opposition to the local mob, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, Port Charles is home. You want whoever's running that mob to be from home. And so, like, it
Exactly.
would be so weird if you had this other person kind of come in. And so, what I did not think was practical, when you have Max saying this could look bad for Laura. And I'm like, again, nobody knows that the decision Laura made, right? This isn't exactly
Exactly.
happening to her. She's making choices on her own. And honestly, Laura does not need anybody else's protection. When Felicia
Mhm.
made that ask of Carly, and I'm like, this is such an unrealistic ask. And I don't see why Sonny
Right?
wouldn't make this fight. Because, like I said, there's a chance to campaign against the idea. Now he's out there, and now Dan's pushing his, like, all of his donations and his involvement in the city and all those good things. Why is everyone forgetting the concept of the five families? Why is everyone forgetting
Mhm.
that, like, even Jordan knows this, the law enforcement knows this? You knock one out, another one pops up. So the whole point, to my understanding, is while there's a love-hate relationship with Sonny and his organization, because without it, they know that other players are more dangerous. And so something
Yes.
that Sonny provided the city was some level of, like, balance.
Yeah, protection and balance for sure.
So it's not a fun thing for the law enforcement to ever have to kind of acknowledge that Sunny adds to a balance that, let's say, the PCPD alone or any law enforcement could not kind of provide, because this crime just exists where it is. And the idea that, like, things would be better with Jen Sidwell, like, everyone's forgetting that. Like, when Laura made that decision, including Jordan, it was basically the lesser of two evils, having Sunny own the piers versus Jen's, because Jen's would have access through Drew and Ezra.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so that's what's funny. So what's going to happen? Will Sunny turn a new leaf? Like, will this be real? Like, let's say for Johnny's theory in his show, this criminal truly becomes a mayor and truly does launch this whole war against, like, crime kind of a thing, okay?
Mhm.
So, like, if that happens, and then, like, one of his kids are running his mob empire, like, you know what I mean? This is so nuts.
I love it so much because one, you're gonna shut Drew down because he won't know what to do with himself and he'll implode. Um, the idea of Sunny fighting against crime, like how we've had these like ideas of Jason working for the WSB or Jason working for the PCPD, like we can see. I mean, if you said this 5 years ago, no. If you said this 10 years ago, no. But in the world we live in today, where they're getting older, their kids are growing up, Sunny has heart issues. Like I can, I can 100% see him turn a new leaf. And you can, we got like a little glimpse of, Lois's adoration for Sunny. I think that was either like yesterday or today. But I felt like she was speaking for the voting audience in the sense of like, Sunny has done so much. He's always so generous. He's done so much good in his life. Like I felt like it was a testament to what's to come.
But also, I'm staring at a line I have, like, listening to what you're saying, and then thinking about this. They keep calling it a referendum on Sunny. And I
Yes.
keep thinking to myself, I guess no one ever thought that, like, Sunny could win the referendum on Sunny. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
so far it's
Totally.
being put out there, and even everyone's like, oh no, oh no. Like, everyone feels like it's inevitable, except for Curtis. Curtis says, let's wait and see.
Mhm.
So this is really interesting because I think they could be leaning toward that. As for who will take over for Sunny, again, I'm betting on Christina.
I mean, yeah, because she's a little unhinged and the guilt is not really there.
It's so temporary. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to say that I don't believe she cares about what she did. I think she's
Oh
relieved.
no.
I think
Mhm.
that when, like, her I think when she settles, she sees it. But no, I don't think this is her turning over a new leaf. I don't think she'll stop. I think she crossed over into the dark side, and I think at the end of the day she needed some refining, if you will. And I felt that her
Yes.
going and getting like, going through this whole legal battle, like maneuvering the legal system, I felt like if she was sent away, it's possible that she could have actually gotten the help she needed, right? This whole idea that she needs support and she's very dysregulated and impulsive and all of these things. That could have kind of helped her. And I do feel that, like, for Christina to come on board to Sunny's organization, it's not going to be one where they're, like, seeking her out, right? This is not going to be one of
Mhm.
those situations where you're like,
She's
I'm gonna
recruited
I'm gonna pick you. I think it's
like a
has a lot.
headhunter.
Exactly. I think it's not gonna be something that Jason or Sunny would ever want. And I think if anything, it would freak them out,
Oh
especially
yeah.
Jason. But I think it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to have no choice. Like the situation is going to be something that has her kind of like they won't have a choice, especially if it means protecting Sonny. And things are slowly coming to a head. Like this concept that we're finding out that the timeline is shrinking. His surgery is next week. And like, so Sonny's going to be out of commission. Jens now has all of this information from Natalia about his open heart surgery. Like, there's just a lot happening in terms of Sonny's world that could tear it all. Oh my God, that's so funny. That's exactly what Johnny was saying in his show, that the criminal had like this medical issue, was out for the count for a little while, and then returned, like kind of turning over a new leaf.
I love okay, so you talking about Daredevil is making me actually think about some other shows like The Sopranos, where Tony Soprano was in the
I didn't
mob,
watch
but
it. I didn't watch it. Don't.
okay, spoiler alert.
I,
So
can I take
block
my
your
headphones
ears.
off? No, I
Yes.
have to edit this. I have to edit this.
I won't give away too much. It's just it is known that in the show, like he goes to therapy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm picturing for Christina. Like she's learning, but she also needs therapy to get her through,
Oh.
you know?
Okay, okay. I think that's interesting. But that whole thing is a disaster. Like Diane was losing it. And I felt like it was the only option. Like, why? And like everything Alexis was saying is every reason not to do business with this woman. But what do you think's going to happen, right? Because she thinks I'm going to do the simple thing. I'm going to embezzle money and do crime. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's sitting there across from Marco,
Yes.
judging him when
Yeah.
she's actively committing crimes herself. And again, putting her license at risk, putting Diana at risk. It was one thing when Diane supported her before, but she helped you. She helped you get your license back and she welcomed you into her business. So I feel like this is like, I mean, she didn't share that detail with Diane. I don't think she said how to keep Ava quiet. All she said was, I have to cover this up. So those parts Diane doesn't know. But then she goes to see Ava and surprise, surprise, Ava wants more. And Ava basically said, um it's I'm gonna be asking for things you're never gonna dream of, like it's never gonna stop. Like I'm like, why is Ava doing this, right? Because you take that and you parallel and you consider the conversations she had with Rick, where Rick was
Mhm.
warning her, you gave Alexis time to strategize
Yes.
and all of that stuff, and like be careful. And so I don't know, do you think like Alexis is just going to sink deeper, or that first conversation with Ava is going to have her go rethink things?
I'm honestly hoping it's gonna have her rethink things because I don't like the other option. To me, the other option is sinking further and further into this and her drinking again. And that's not the direction I want this to go. That family has been through enough. Like, and if we want to see Christina as a mob boss, then maybe she does need to be committed and handle some issues and face her darkness and accept her darkness and come out on the other side ready to hit the
Exactly.
mob hard, right?
That's what I was thinking, be able to direct her anger instead of it being explosive. Again, I think the character fits the Sunny profile too, right? And I love the
Yes.
pairing of Joss as Jason and Christina as Sunny. They both bring in those elements. And like we see it in Jocelyn being trained and being more targeted. And you have like Christina that does need to rein it in, but not too much, because it's not like Sunny reined it in extensively, right? He was still someone that needed to be managed.
Well, that's exactly it. She's gonna, and then I can't wait to slowly see her build her circle. Like, who's gonna be her right hand woman or man? Who's gonna be the person to watch her back, right?
Okay, but this is kind of, what if Alexis goes along with this? What if Christina isn't committed?
Hmm.
What if Christina finds out what's going on?
Hmm.
And what if she's in that first time position? Like what if Christina's darkness gets Alexis out of this situation? What if
Ooh.
for the first time she experienced, everybody's concerned about the fact that she gets away with everything. But what if this time she does it Sunny style? She has a lawyer, she committed the crime, and Diane argues the crap out of it, right?
Hmm.
So I'm just saying, what if the other flip side? Because, like, I mean, this is the one we're seeing. We're like, oh, she gets committed, she gets the help she needs, and she comes back with a vengeance. What if it turns out, again, come back with a vengeance? The vengeance is there, it never went away. But what if this whole scenario gets resolved in the darkest, most messiest way that creates her rise to the top and actually gets like unscathed, as in like she comes close, like how Sonny has every single time,
Yes.
but not burned, but with enemies that should be scared, right? Because Rick and Ava are confident that they've got this. And they certainly think that Christina is way too like unhinged. Yeah, she could come after Ava again. But what if like they see that she really is more more dangerous than they think?
Okay, I really love that. Like a
Because
lot.
that I could see, because the Sunny thing is happening so fast and the Christina's situation is so unresolved. And if he's away at an open heart surgery, how exactly will this merging happen? But I don't know. But I think that there's a lot of exciting things to come. And you talked about how like Lois was like praising Sunny. So let's go back to that. She was praising Sunny to Lulu
Ugh, yes.
regarding Geo. And then we got a whole preview. So I was like, no, but we knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. But like
Yes.
Rocco is a little jelly of Geo and Geo's relationship with his grandpa.
Yeah, they it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Some rivalry there.
So there's a lot there. So like Lulu comes in, she's like, where's the birthday boy? Where's my ex-husband who's mourning his wife to be, or wife that he could have had? That wasn't me. She does not ask for Rocco, and then Rocco's getting
No.
parented outside. She's not involved. Sonny comes
Yep.
in, so he's getting
Not a
all
clue.
kind. Yeah, so he's getting all kinds of parenting outside, a lot of support. And then he comes back in. She's like, "Is everything okay?" Yeah, yeah. Charlotte's not here. I never wanted her to say goodbye to her dad in the police station, but when she wanted to ditch a family event, I was like, "Have at it. Go be with your
I
friends."
cannot.
And then she becomes fixated with Geo. So Geo and her cross paths numerous times, but then in a more explosive way in Brooklyn's office. So, I mean, look, when I saw Maxie today in her office, it really dawned on me because like we had already seen the Lulu scenes. Like Maxie has a really big life. And I think it highlights truly what it means when you don't have one, because look at where Lulu's energy is going. You know what I mean? Like Maxie's life is
Hmm.
big. She's got a lot going on. And since Lulu has been back, I mean, again, makes sense. She was focused on finding Charlotte, but even with Charlotte there, even with Rocco there, now she's focused on Lois and Geo at this party, fishing, asking questions. And it's just sort of like her priorities are all out of whack, and I think it's sad. I think it really is sad that she lost the 4 years that she did, but she's
Yes.
also not, I mean, look, she's not reacting really well to coming back. You know what I mean? Like she's not
Hmm.
stepping in and creating a life of her own. Mind you, she needed time, and maybe this is the time she needs to mourn or process, or is in denial of everything that happened or what she lost. I have no idea. But it's just when I guess for me, for that split second, I did have some compassion of watching Maxie's full life and watching where Lulu's at, where she's just in this place where she's just fixated on the whole Brooklyn thing when there's so much family and life happening around her.
Okay, if you put it that way for half a second, I could be
For half a
okay with
second,
it.
for
But
half a second.
no, fair enough. Like when you see her with their kids, there's such and they film it so well. Like there's such a huge disconnect,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
the whole point is you want to be with your kids. Yes, I understand the whole point of like Charlotte being back and making friends, but at the same time, like she has no idea how to like strike that balance, how to raise a child of that age or even where to start. So she just likes let things be. And the same with Rocco. Like she's just standing there, and I love how they like film them because I think it was just like the two of them in a close up shot, and
Yes,
she's
it was.
got this like ridiculous goofy grin, and he is so deep in thought, and you see that he is thinking so hard, and she's just like la 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 la. You good?
She's
Yep. Okay. La la la.
she's the Amy of her personal life, basically.
Oh yeah, 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 totally.
But with Charlotte, it's gonna be different, right? She's probably gonna spoil her a little bit more to compensate, right? To get her over to her side because she knows where Charlotte's heart lies. But that whole
Yes.
thing, it feels like it's funny because we already went through this thing where Lula's like, I wish I didn't stumble upon information that was never any of my business, but I think she's just gonna pursue this. I think she's gonna end up being
Yes.
the one to pursue the Geo thing. And I did wonder at what point will Lois be looped in as to what Lulu knows. Like, if the decision is really to keep this a secret, don't you think that that's something Lois should be aware of? Um, but it was funny. I loved watching Danny, Geo, and Rocco. But obviously, for Rocco, he's watching that Gio can love Sonny unconditionally and doesn't really care and is actively defending him.
Yes.
And he's clearly feeling guilty about it. But I mean, again, Rocco is in a different position where it's his grandmother and grandfather. And yes, he's having a reaction. He's being protective of Laura. And I think Sonny did the right thing in the way that he supported him. But
Yes.
that clearly will be a wedge. And I'm just thinking this, like, let's let's be honest. I mean, we really want Lulu to get hers at some point, and we get some satisfaction with the fact that like Chase sees her the way that he does. And the
Yes.
fact that like Brooklyn has this protector and this relationship, we love that because in the past, I feel like information like this would have been kept separate and it would have stayed between Lulu and Brooklyn, and that would have been it. So I kind of love that Brooklyn and Chase are this team. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, we already know how bad this will be for Lois. Like, it's
Hmm.
really bad. It's not just the secret of who the father was, it's the fact that it's freaking Geo and he's living with
Exactly.
everybody, right? So this is twofold. So there's two huge secrets, that everybody will be upset about. But I'm thinking this is going to come out in the worst way, and Lulu is going to just, I think, the way that this information is going to come out, like, remember, she assumed that Brooklyn knew she had a son.
Yes.
Would it surprise us for Lulu to think that Brooklyn played her and all this time knew her son was Geo and actively was keeping Geo away from Dante?
Oh my God. Like, honestly, like, I could picture all of it because, and then Lulu's going to be so righteous and I'm right. She's putting things together slowly. But I do think that when she hears that Brooklyn and Chase want to adopt, for some reason, I think that's going to be a really big trigger for her.
Maybe, right? Especially if she comes to learn the Geo stuff simultaneously. That will be the thing that causes her to blow up. And that's
Hmm.
going to be horrible because I want everyone to be there. Like this has to
Yes,
be
it has to
one of those
be.
public confrontations where Lulu does it in a way that's so ugly that there is animosity toward her,
Yes.
right? Because seeing that she didn't know, like I think having everything kind of come out like this and all the details come out, I do want it to be where Dante shifts the way that he sees her,
Yes.
and where it can't be one of those things where like I did it out of love, I did it for you, because he already knows that she's so driven by this whole Brooklyn thing that it's not so pure of heart, that she's not really always coming from a place of love. There's a lot of resentment within her, with regarding Brooklyn that she can't really let go, that kind of taints the love she has for Dante, and kind of like misinforms her actions too. But what would be really interesting is if she crosses a line, because I feel that when she was in Brooklyn's office and Gio and Emma walked in, I felt that she crossed a line by pulling them in. You know what I mean? Like, she
Yes.
also has these teenage kids. They're teenagers, they're young adults, and they're kids, and they're seen as kids in the eyes of everyone else. To Dante, to Brooklyn, to everybody. Emma and Gio are seen as children.
Yes.
And the way that she tried to pull them in to this drama, like, I think if she outs everything and Gio's right there and she might kind of direct at him or point to him or gets into it, I think that will cross a line for Dante in a way where, like, if he sees Gio be hurt as a result of what Lulu did, that Lulu couldn't hold herself back and that she kind of took it so far past Brooklyn to a kid, he might feel that she's a little bit far gone.
Oh, yeah. Like, he needs to see the ugliest side of her because it's always a little bit hidden and then sugar coated a few days later. Like, she has to like accuse Jill of somehow knowing or being some sort of like he wants money. That's why he's here. Like, she's got to get real ugly with him.
Like, I think, like, how Willow doesn't understand people's reactions. I think this is
Yes.
going to be one of those times Lulu may not fully understand her actions either. I think she might be expecting a thank you or defense and she won't get it. And it takes me back to that time, with the whole Nathan stuff where Lulu showed up at the funeral and I guess really didn't understand how Maxie was feeling. And Maxie went off at her. And like, I mean, they were separated for a certain time, right? They had conflict for a long
Hmm.
time. But when that all happened, yes, Dante was there. It's not like he was there, he supported her and he removed her from the situation, but he never vocally like stepped up and defended anything because there was absolutely nothing to defend.
Yes.
It's kind of like how I felt Maxie was for Nina. She went straight to Carly to tell her what Nina did in terms of keeping Sonny away. She loves Nina, but she was never there to kind of encourage people's bad sides or like a destructive behavior, but she was going to love them and be there for them anyway. And that's what Dante always was when it came to Lulu. He loved her anyway and stood by her, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't hurt by her erratic actions. And there were a lot of them.
Yes, there absolutely was.
I don't find this current Lulu all that different from the Lulu we have come to know. And again, makes sense with the 4 year gap of her not getting the chance to mature. I think it's fun this way with her not maturing.
Well, yeah, it's definitely entertaining. It's annoying, but entertaining.
But I also feel this, and I had said this a while back, that I feel like in terms of the Quartermain house, I do feel that Gio and Sasha are connected. So I feel like their storylines are interconnected such that the unfolding of Gio's storyline will then inform like what Sasha does about Michael being the father of her baby. Because
Oh,
remember,
I
like
totally agree.
right? Like they had all those moments together, or they were talking a few weeks ago, just Gio and her. And then they talked about her mat leave and her like potentially staying in the Quartermain house. And I feel like that's the time frame all the Gio stuff will happen. I don't doubt. And remember, even Olivia said the kids really love you. And I don't doubt
Yeah.
that like Gio will have talks with Sasha, right? Like reminding like him remembering that his mom was a single mom. Like he already has that kind of connection with Sasha and supportive of her. And I think she'll support him through some of this stuff too. And so I do think that as that storyline progresses, it'll have that like influence on Sasha.
Mhm.
I have to say this. If Molly was near the Quartermains, like what you doing? What are you doing?
I know. Like, why are you so close to their property? Why didn't you think anybody there could help you? That whole scene with the two of them, like, I love that he pulled up in a mostly white horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I loved all of I love like this like BC level story of like she needs to find love with somebody who's like the opposite of her, and how she's holding on to her briefcase, be held on to her tight. Like it is adorable, and I'm here for all of it because it's so like simple and cute.
Like, I think Molly needs him more than anything. As for Lulu, I think so far he knows that she's in love with someone else, so I think he'll be her friend. That's
Yes.
sort of where they last landed. And she'll need one more than ever once everything blows up.
Oh,
But
yes,
I think
true.
the thing about Molly is she doesn't want to leave her briefcase in her car, but she's completely okay with leaving her window down.
Completely open.
Yeah, just completely open on the side of the road. I'll say this about Molly. Like right now, Cody's the best thing in her life. Soup's funny when she brought in that coffee and said it was Christina's idea. I was like, Rick, she's not trying to kill you. She's trying to kill Ava. Like, relax.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, it was
Jeez.
an accident. But I think this for Molly, I felt that Diane's plan, why it mattered so much for me anyway, was how it protected Molly. Okay.
Same.
Because there's this threat. And that's the thing. Like, Ava doesn't say that part to Rick that I threatened to just go tell Molly. Like, I don't know if it'll ever come to that or if that's going to go down because she's playing it to Rick like, I want to protect Molly. And I don't even know why Alexis didn't use that leverage. I guess you're willing to forgo your relationship with Rick then. You hurt his daughter and you think he'll stick around.
So do you think eventually, because of how this is so much in a gray space, and she knows that she's going against what Diane told her, that she will use her truce with Rick and confide in him a little bit, and that's how they become closer and Ava gets edged out?
I do think that Olive Branch has traction.
Mhm.
I do think that they're worried about Molly from two different lenses.
Mhm.
And to be honest, Diane's plan protects Molly the most, okay?
100%.
Because if the truth comes out, Molly will not only learn what Christina did, that her mom knew and that her father knew. And that's the thing.
Yep.
Rick knowing and Rick choosing to blackmail Alexis. So I think that's also the leverage Alexis will have, if finding some of that out. So for me, when Diane presented the idea saying that, like, if it comes out, Molly will be protected. For one, she'll see her mother step up. And for the first
Yes.
time, really grasp the severity of it and really, because like remember, Molly had said, I think last week at the hospital, she was so happy that her mom was there for her.
Yeah,
And
so
she's like, "Of course
sweet.
I am," because she's
Sad.
used, yeah, because she's used to like her mom stepping up for Christina. So I think that would bring them closer, being like, "I had to do it." Like your sister, like she's not well. She's been making erratic decisions, and I feel bad for what I've caused. You know what I mean? For Christina and
Hmm.
for you. And I think that could have been a really big thing for Molly, but also just protecting her from what Christina did. That at least we can buffer it with
Yes,
this, and
absolutely.
for Alexis to say, "Oh, she'll see this only as like a strategic move," and I'm like, I don't know, like
I
once
don't
the
think so.
right, like I feel like that's lawyer Molly, and Molly's been getting more in touch with Molly
Yes.
having a girls' night, a Davis's night. Like she's getting more in touch with her, the person. She's finding place in her heart for Christina. Like there is an emotional thing, and emotions shift your perspective. Like look at what it did to Alexis. Lawyer Alexis thought the strategy was great. Mom Alexis freaked out. Christina will be mad at me. This is why I can't do it. The whole time I was like, Dan, just go see Sonny. She's got another parent.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, I'm kind of, but that's what I mean. Like when we suspected, like, is this alliance between Rick and Ava going to last? And then there's times where he seems really supportive, but this kind of makes sense. I do think it'll shift. And yes, I do think Ava will be pushed out. I think Rick will not willingly, but somehow be a part of protecting Christina and connecting with Alexis, all for Molly.
Yes.
And I think all of deception will not understand Natalia.
Oh my God. So Natalia's outed, Marco's outed, but here is yes, it is like shocking. We know they're trying to figure it out, who she is as a person, the lies. But holy cow, how quick does she flip on Sunny? Like how
I know.
scary is Jen's? I was trying to just kind of figure out like how threatening and how scary was Jen's to her in the past that she just flipped on a dime.
I think that's our answer because if you take that version of Natalia and the woman we've come to know, how we saw her with Blaze, with Christina, with running, the business that was Blaze, yeah, I think it's really significant that she just confessed everything. I mean, again, I can understand why nobody would trust her being like she found a way into the
Yeah.
company because of Jen's when that wasn't the case. But I don't know. I don't know if Natalia has much chance. I think Maxie is likely to listen to her, but I don't know if that'll move the needle.
I don't think it will. And I'm like, okay, what
No.
does that mean for Natalia as a character for the show?
Well, I think
Like,
her
where does she
only
land?
she's got to build a bridge with someone, while Jen's is there offering protection. I don't fully buy it. Sonny doesn't trust her. I mean, she already outed him again. Like, I don't know. She's gonna have to build a bridge with somebody, and she's gonna have to take a stand and go all the way with it. I don't know if it'll be Marco, or simply just telling Sonny everything he needs to know, or giving Sonny a heads up that I have to tell him, and maybe we'll get more details about why she's really scared and what her relationship was really like and why she ran. And I think that'll get some vulnerability points. um,
Fair.
that's a possibility, but now you got Carly finally learning about Sunny's heart problem.
Oh my gosh, that was the funniest scene. He's like, I just had to I keep that information in a close circle. That's a pretty big circle.
Yeah, he told her it was he told her it was a tight circle.
Yeah.
And then she's like, quite a tight circle you got there. Like she was just, I mean, look, Carly could take that stuff in stride. They're no longer married, and she gets that. But now here
Yes.
she is, and I was like, oh no, because it's like that was Sunny and Carly right there. And I hadn't seen that on screen for a long time. She's like, I'm coming with you. And the fact that it's even a
Yeah.
possibility, I was stunned because that's a Sunny Carly moment. And I don't know what to make of it. Like it's not passionate the way
No,
her
no.
scenes are with Jason. It's not intense, but it's definitely a Carly Sunny scene that I haven't seen in a really long time.
I agree. It's interesting, but I just think it's solidifying that place where they have a mutual respect
I
that
do.
still
I
creates that
do.
nice base for when the Jason thing happens. Like I don't see anything romantic there.
I didn't in that moment, but a thing flashed in my head of like an old Friends episode when like Rachel goes to Ross and goes, "We're that's never off the table. Like we're never off the table." And I know that's possible, but I mean, again, in this era, I don't see it, right? I know Brennan won't like it, but I can see exactly what you're saying, though. I can see this is the Sunny Carly relationship. Again, we know that it's existed between marriages. So that's not
Yes.
necessarily anything new. It's just, I think, shocking because as an audience, they've been pulled apart since the Nina stuff, and we really haven't seen them come back together in a way that ever really resembled before.
Yes, that's true.
And so this is the first time they resemble a little bit of pre Nina. So I think it's just weird to see.
I agree.
Something else I just have to vent about real quick is the whole
Sure.
Emma Joss dynamic. I find it so laughable that Emma, oh yeah, it's true, hard knock life, growing up with two parents who are surgeons. Why do you act like you don't come from privilege? And it's just really bizarre because Gio doesn't buy it either. Like her perception of Jocelyn is so skewed, saying like, I don't have a billionaire dad to buy me out of trouble. I'm like, first of all, she doesn't just have a billionaire dad. She actually has a lot of adults in her life with a lot of money that could very much bail her out of trouble. The issue is she's not gotten into trouble to be bailed out of.
Exactly. Like it is absolutely ridiculous. So her parents are well off, but it's like first world
And
problems.
connections, Anna, your granddad,
Mhm. Mhm.
Mac? Like, what are you talking about? You're beyond connected if you were to get in trouble, but you have cut yourself off from all of them and you did not reach out to anyone else for help. So, how can anyone step in when you're trying to be this, live this secret life and be like, I don't want all this love and like money and stability? You know what I mean? Like, she wants to live this like reckless, risky my personal my own life, and then she wants to whine that no one's there to give her money or bail her out. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it drives me nuts.
Could you imagine how mad she's gonna be when she finds out that Joss is a spy and stands for something? She's gonna be so jealous.
She's
She's
gonna
gonna be like
lose it,
knocking on the WSB door, like, "What about me,
right?
guys?"
Because she has such a perspective of her. To be honest, I thought like I didn't know what Joss was doing, like she was tailing him, but I'm like she's gonna use that information likely to her advantage, that she has a record at some point to get the internship she needs.
Oh, 100%.
But this is taking us into the summer, mind you. This is gonna be a time,
It's gonna be
right?
so fun because like they're already starting to talk about like, so what are your plans for the summer? I'm
I
like
know.
watching GH.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think we talked about all the things that covered all this stuff. I mean, of course, we had those wonderful moments with Elizabeth coming back home and what
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks like. And I'm loving how full her house is and how chaotic it is and all the cute, funny things that are happening. Like, I adore her and her bubble.
Well, I love that we finally got a Laura Elizabeth moment. And let's be real, like glad like Laura has her kids back, but for a long time it was Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth was, for all
Yes.
intents purposes, they were the mother-daughter. We have been seeing for years. So since her accident, I've been so happy to see them together and also realizing something like Elizabeth is very self-sufficient, like when oh, okay. Okay. Okay, remember back
Sure.
before when we talked about like Willow and Elizabeth passing the torch?
Yes.
Remember for a long time, Elizabeth's character was very much like a damsel in distress,
Oh, yes. And always on her high horse.
and guy to guy that supported her, took care of her. She grew out of that.
Oh, yeah. Big
She's
time.
not that person anymore. So I think it was very spot on about passing the torch in terms of like characters and what we're carrying on and the essence of that we're continuing with. And so it's like to that point, watching Elizabeth be like, "Oh, you don't have to be here." So it's sort of like, while Lucky is in his own world of like, she's the love of my life and I'm here to get everything back. She has like zero confidence in like what's happening. Not confidence, but she's just taking it a bit at a time. She has zero expectations.
Yes.
It's just interesting watching because they were portraying this couple growing together, but now that it's gotten so real, it's not weekends away. It's not stolen moments. It's not can we have a sleepover and everyone's interrupting us and we can't have time alone. This is real. I got hurt. I'm out for the count for 6 weeks. Sorry. This is not like fun time honeymoon anymore. This is my real life.
Exactly. It is
And
real
so I
life.
and I feel like since it got real, she clearly did not have any expectations of him.
Yeah, because she figured, well, the fun time's over. He's not going to stick around.
And that's really interesting because she may think that, but she also seems very fine with that. And that's huge in terms of like Elizabeth's arc on the show.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I can't believe we've been here for all of it.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we did cover all the things. We talked about all this stuff. Do you have any stars or favorite lines?
I had a favorite line, but it wasn't what anyone else said. It was when she said to Brooklyn, like, "Oh my gosh, like you're always there to pick me up." And then I added, "Yeah, by the abs." I was like, so it was such a Mel moment of me to say something like that to my
Stop.
TV. So that's one of my favorite. And I'm just giving a star to like everybody. It was really good. Like I'm liking like these are a lot of stories.
So many stories, and we've come such a long way because for a while we were really confused as to what was happening, but
Yes.
everything is going fantastic.
Yes, like all the stories feel like they make sense, they're coherent, and we can even see how some of them are interwoven together. Like, yeah,
Yes.
loving it, loving it.
Okay, so I'm giving a shout out to myself as well.
Okay, go for it. Oh, because
Lois.
they send Melanie again?
So Lois and Chase had a moment where Lois was speaking to Melanie, her lighting director. So I was like, wow, two Melanies on the show. Like that's rare. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Um
they misunderstood. They think it's Mel and Mel, the Poor Charles update. Thanks, guys.
Aw. And then my favorite line was with when Cody was with Molly, and Cody says, "Oh no, Molly says who names a horse Hades," and Cody's like, "Tracy, maybe it reminds her of
I
home."
know.
I
That was
died.
so freaking good. One more thing that we forgot, and I just want to say that Jason confronted Sasha on her deal with Jens, and why I don't think that's going to be a big deal is that when you're loyal and in the tight circle, your mistakes don't really matter all that much. And I feel like that's who Sasha and Michael are, right? Like we know Sasha will bend over backwards to protect Michael, and even when like
Yes.
Olivia officially made her like a quartermain and it had nothing to do with her baby but her as a person, I do think in terms of that, like Jason, Carly ride or die, that's Sasha Michael. That's what will be carried on.
Oh, I so love that. Okay, one last thing. What was your cutie pie mention?
Oh man, definitely Elizabeth and Elizabeth. I would say Elizabeth and Lucky, but it's
Yes.
her. Like I'm gonna have to say it. I think it's all her.
I'm gonna have to give that
Oh,
moment.
I don't know. Okay, so there's her and there's Lucas and Carly. They just bring a vibe. They are just a vibe together. They talk about serious things in the silliest way.
It's so true. I love it hard. For me, it was the mention of Tracy because of the letter that she wrote to Olivia. So I'm gonna give my cutie pie mention to Tracy.
Oh yeah, the thing that she did to Olivia. And I also love Carly and Felicia, kind of cementing that Felicia Bobby friendship through like Felicia's maintaining connection with Carly and Carly with Maxie. Like I love them strengthening that relationship. The fact that she was like in her house, I think that was amazing.
So, what are you gonna do for this long weekend?
Well, it's raining all weekend, so I think we're going to be up for some coloring. And if anybody else wants to join us in coloring, you can check out our Cutie Pie Instagram page at Cutie Pie Coloring, where you'll get to see a lot of the pictures and the links are there to purchase too.
Perfect. You know what? It's going to be raining here too. So
I
that's what
know.
we'll be doing as well. Oh my gosh, folks, have a fantastic long weekend. That's a wrap. Bye.
Bye.